All right, what's going on, guys? Rich Schnyderite here of Nittany Nation, joined by recruiting analyst Eric Lammers. We're going to try something a little different today. We're going to try to do these instant reaction podcasts. We're going to try to, anytime there's breaking news in terms of recruiting or transfer portal or even like coaching stuff, we're going to try to get someone on, whether it be Eric, whether it be our beat writer Clay, or someone else on our staff to just join us and talk a little bit about just a quick reaction to the news. And the big news right now is Penn State football recruiting. They just landed their seventh, I guess, 2023 kid in
right,
lineman Anthony Donkoh out of Virginia. Eric, how did this one kind of unfold?
Yeah, I think this one kind of came together rather quickly, right? I mean, they offered him back in early December, one of the first few schools to jump in on him. And, they were to get him on campus earlier this month on the 15th, as we noted over at Nittany Nation. And so I think it came together rather quickly. I think it was just one of those instances where he really gelled with Coach Franklin and Coach Trout, while he was on that visit, and he just felt like it was the time.
Yeah. So now this is offensive lineman number 3 in in recruiting in 2023. Recruiting's nuts nowadays, but yeah, I mean, number offensive lineman number 3, maybe 4 if you count Barnwell. How many are they going to take?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at it. I think they're definitely, even with Donkoh in the mix, I think they're definitely going to be looking to add 2 to 3 more, specifically putting some priorities on those tackle bodies. I think obviously Birchmeier, he projects to be an interior. I think Miller definitely is probably a guard at the next level. He has the thickness about him with the lowers. I think he could play maybe a swing tackle in a pinch, but I think inside is where he's going to project. And then Donkoh, I think he's interesting, man. He only plays guard on his film for his high school team.
Yeah.
I think he's relatively, I don't know this for sure, but I think he's relatively new just to the game in general, because you kind of shows up on film. And I think maybe at the high school level, they're putting him at guard to kind of protect him a little bit, maybe what he doesn't know, right? But he's raw. And I think what you see on film is you see a couple of things. I think you see length. And I think you see a quick athleticism, feet fire. And so I think there's some chance that he could develop and play tackle at the next level. I think it really comes down to his, what is his overall length. But on film, man, his arms are hanging, man. He looks like he's got those 33s that you like to see out there on the edge, where he could have a chance.
Gotcha. So now, obviously, we're talking about him as an offensive lineman, but if you look at his rivals profile, you look at his huddle tape, it all says defensive end or defensive lineman in general. Do you think he just translates better to the offensive side, and that's kind of why the staff likes him more there? Or
I think they just like to. I think maybe what they're seeing out of him is the fact that he's got that athleticism. He's a little bit, like I said, raw, and I feel like maybe they think that they can kind of tap into that potential on the offensive side a little bit better. I think on defense he has some redeeming qualities as well. It comes back to his size. It comes back to his ability to get off the ball. It's a lot of it's just based on what you see on the film is just pure athleticism. Like, he doesn't really know what he's doing, I don't think, but I think they see maybe potential to tap into that upside on the offensive side a little bit better there.
And I know people want to criticize Phil Troutwein every once in a while, whether it be on field performance, recruiting, but he's done a pretty stellar job so far this 2023 class. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously, he's got the most commits in the class right now. He's obviously bringing in dudes that he feels like he can, not only develop, but guys that are coming in ready-made as well. When you talk about Birchmeier, and then you're talking about Miller from a size perspective, he's got it right. And then, I mean, Donkoh is obviously a little bit of a project. I mean, you're not going to expect him to come in and help you immediately, but he's one of those, I feel like almost like a lottery ticket. You're taking him and you're hoping, if that guy if he hits 2 to 3 years from now, you could have yourself a potential NFL caliber offensive lineman just because of that length and that athleticism. It's going to take some development, both in the strength, conditioning portion and on field. So it's going to take some development in those areas, but it's one of those guys where you're like, man, if this guy hits, we have something special.
NFL lineman. I think people on the board and myself are going to have to hold you to that one.
Yeah. You guys come back and visit me a few years if I'm wrong on that one. That's again purely based on just what you're seeing with the upside. Now, not today. He is not that by no means. But when you just see a guy that because he came in reportedly when he entered high school, he was around the 240 range, right? And so he's now up to all the way up to 300. So, and it's not a bad weight. He's put on some good weight. So he carries it well. And he's, again, I go back to the length in his arms. It's there. And his fire out of his stance. He's not a slug when he's moving out of his stance. So there's some very redeeming qualities for an offensive line coach. When they look at that film, they're like, okay, so he has these attributes. I'm pretty confident in my ability once I get him here to be able to mold him and develop him. And if those things all marry up when he gets to Penn State, then you can see a guy really reach his ceiling, and that ceiling would be the NFL.
So now you talked a lot about his game. Does it just fit this Yurcich offense kind of, or does it like need to develop a little more, like you said, or?
Yeah, I think it's, I just think when you're talking about offensive linemen in general, there's going to be some development needed. I just think that he's going to be a guy that you're going to bring in. You're not going to expect things out of him quickly. A lot of them early. You're just going to get a feel for him, see how he fits in, where he fits best, because whether it's guard or if you try him out at tackle or even if you try him at center, right? I think you're just trying to find out where he fits best, where he's most comfortable and where he can develop, and then kind of go from there and how he fits into the scheme and what he can do better and really use his attributes there, right? It's really, in my opinion, a fresh piece of clay, the way that you're looking at it here, and just how can we mold it and how can we really bring it to the next level once we get them on campus.
So now let's talk a little bit about other offensive linemen. I know they're obviously pursuing Hunter Norzad out of Cornell, and then Tyler Steen, who you're pretty familiar with, out of Vanderbilt. What's the latest on these two?
Yeah, so Hunter's obviously going to take it down to the wire. He's keeping it, again, close to the vest. We should know more here soon. I think it's going to come down to between, Iowa, Illinois, and Penn State, which is somewhat of a new news, because originally you had thought that maybe Auburn had the early lead just because he's from the Atlanta area originally. Maybe he'd want to get back down south, get closer to home. But I think, the allure of playing in the Big Ten, the offensive linemen that are produced in the Big Ten, Iowa, Illinois, those are some good offensive line programs. When you talk about Ferentz and Bielema, what they're able to do with offensive linemen. Yeah. And then Penn State obviously has a history as well of producing. So I just think that kind of allure is kind of bringing them. Steen, I'm not so sure what's going on with Tyler right now. He is another one that keeps it very close to the vest. I don't necessarily have a good feel that he's considering Penn State much more, beyond, how when he welcomed him down for a visit. I think that was last week. So I'm not sure where that one's going. I think Norzad continues to be the main focus for the staff. And then obviously Vega, when they bring in that 22 offensive lineman this weekend as well.
I know we talked about it on the boards a little bit in our transfer portal thread. They started following a couple new guards. So that would kind of lead to the fact that Norzad might be leaning towards the Illinois, Iowa that you were mentioning before. But I guess it's just kind of a wait and see approach right now. But other big news, Junior Day, again, for the fourth time this January, it seems like. Another big weekend. Just tell me a little bit about who's coming to campus.
The list is loaded. The list is loaded now. So, they've got dudes coming from, all over, from the DMV to Pennsylvania. It's a good group. I'm pretty excited to see what kind of comes out of it. I know we're going to have the reactions rolling when it's over, when it's all said and done over at Nittany Nation. We'll have some reactions, and I'm expecting some good things. And when you bring this type of group together, including the fact that you're going to have some of your big commits. I know Lamont Payne's going to be on campus. I know Joshua Miller's planning to be on campus. I know Birchmeyer's planning to be on campus. So you have all those dudes on campus, and you're bringing in the group they're bringing. I think you're expecting some good things. I don't know exactly if there's be any commitments coming out of the weekend, but just the level of talent that they have, I think it's something to watch. I think, the one kid that I'm watching in particular is the running back out of Scranton Prep right there in Pennsylvania, right? He's coming down. He just picked up an offer from Syracuse. He's got offers from Boston College. He's got offers from Michigan State. They're trying to develop that board, I think, a little bit more at the running back position. He seems like it'd be an ideal candidate if they're trying to take two in this class. Somebody to watch. So I'm watching him closely. And then I'm obviously, there's obviously quite a few big names that we're watching as well.
Yeah. Are you just saying London Montgomery just because he's on your prediction list, or?
Trying to get one right there, right? I don't know. I have a feeling about him. No inside information whatsoever, but I know he's excited to get back on campus and talk to the staff. And I know, the staff has had eyes on him as one to watch. His name was floated as somebody to watch just down the road as a name that, they're tracking and so it could be a marriage happening. I think anytime you see more of those offers starting to trickle out from, like I said, Michigan State, Boston College, and Syracuse have offered him. I don't think Penn State's going to want to just sit around and wait around too much longer. So it could be a type of thing where you see something happen this weekend.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually kind of familiar with him just because he has a Rutgers offer as well. And I cover both sites, but he basically, I think this is one of those situations where they're kind of waiting it out, just because I feel like if they do offer, I feel like he's going to be like Penn State committed like that. So it's like, you can have them in the bag. So let's wait. Let's see what else happens with like a Mark Fletcher down in Florida, or a couple other Florida.
I think you're definitely right about that. I think that's why it comes down to, okay, are we willing to take 2? Are we going to be able to take 2? Are we, if because he's a Pennsylvania guy, can we take him? But I think you're right about like your feel for it and why they've kind of tried to, maybe I won't say hold it off, but why they haven't necessarily offered to date. But once you start seeing some of those other schools coming in, it really, as the in-state school, if you're on that staff, when you start seeing that happening, I won't say that you start feeling the walls close in a little bit and you either feel like it's time to either you got to move or move on, right? Because otherwise he's just going to start looking at those other offers and get kind of, why are you guys continuing to wait? Don't continue to keep me at arm's length. I'm getting other offers. And so it's either time to move or move on, like I said.
Yeah, I know it's a very tough one because like Mark Fletcher, like I mentioned, is one of the best in the country, 4-star down in Florida. And I think he all but named Penn State is leader in that recent article with Adam Gorney. So it's like,
I think you really, what you need to do if you're the Penn State staff is you're looking at your board. And we just took 2 in 22 with, Singleton and Catron. Can we take another 2 in this class? Is it one of those things where we can just take, one of the best player available from the state of Pennsylvania? What's our board look like? What are our numbers look like? It's very early, obviously still being in January to be able to project that, but it's just one of those things you have to be able to figure out at this point, especially when you're dealing with an in-state kid.
Yeah, most definitely. And then I guess that's pretty much going to wrap it up for Junior Day. We can, I guess, visits in general. We'll get a little bit of a dead period, I think, for most of February, if not all of February.
Yep, it goes dead all
February. Right around the corner.
Yep, it goes dead of all February, and then it opens back up in March, like you said. So that way, when when you start having spring ball practice and things like that, and kids, prospects are able to start having their spring breaks, everything marries up, and then that becomes a really busy time for everybody.
And that's going to be fun. And so stay tuned on the Lions Den forum on NittanyNation.com. We're going to have a ton of content, whether it's today, more Donkoh stuff shortly from Eric, myself, everyone else on board. And then, that's pretty much it. Just stay tuned, PennState.rivals.com. Eric, thanks a lot for joining us, man.
Appreciate it. Good to have you.